Go ahead and start recording. I'm presenting this week, and our Tim is presenting this week. I'm going to go first. Can y'all hear
me? Yes.
Yep.
And can you see the PowerPoint? Yes. You can see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let me move this little picture of us. Okay. I do this all by myself in my little house. So I call it what I call it all week long. So I call this DOM manipulation all week long. Am I allowed to say DOM or do I have to say DOM?
DOM.
Yes. Good. All right. So we're going to do DOM manipulation, which we actually do all of the time, but I'll give a brief overview. And my brief overview looks like this. When a web page is loaded, the browser automatically creates a document object model of the page. And that is how JavaScript interacts with HTML and changes it. So you can change HTML elements, attributes, you can remove them, you can change CSS styles, you can add new ones, you can create events. So here's an example. When we do get element by with an ID inside, we're using DOM, that's a method. When we do .innerHTML, that's a property. We are already doing it all of the time. Everything is an object on that page, or a node, also called a node, and we'll get to that. Do y'all feel good about it?
Yep.
Good. All right, you can also, instead of get element by ID, you can get element by tag name. These are some of the tags we use, just for your information. You can get it by an CSS style tag as well. So we don't often do that, but you can. All right, this is all from W3 Schools, so you can walk through that tutorial, but I just gave it to you here. Everything in HTML document is a node. It's an object or a node. So the entire document is a document node. Every HTML element is an element node. The attributes are attribute nodes. The text inside an HTML document is a text node. And so you can see here like a little DOM model. The document at the top is one big node. Underneath is the root element, which is our HTML. And then there's a head and a body. Under head, there's title. Under title, inside title is the text, my title. Those are all separate nodes. Inside body is an element A. It has an attribute href. There's an element h1. It has a text node, my header. The element A has a text node, my link. They're all their own little node, which means they have relationships. And this part is a little bit important depending on how you want to call on these nodes to change them with JavaScript. So it's a familiar hierarchy. It's a parent-child sibling hierarchy. So in the top node is called the root node or the root. Every node has one parent except for the root, which has no parents. A node can have any number of children, and the siblings all have the same parent. So in that previous case, the HTML was the root node. It has no parents. It is the parent of the head and body nodes. Head is the first child of HTML. Body is the last child of HTML. Or you can also say it as head has one child. Title has one child, a text node called DOM tutorial. Body has two children, H1 and P. H1 has one child, which is text, DOM at less than one, and P has one child, which is also a text node, hello world. And the H1 and the P inside of body are siblings. This is why that's important. You can you can do your get element by ID, you can put in your ID, you can put .innerHTML and change what's going to be in the HTML, but you can also put node name there, but you have to know what the node name is. So here's an example. In this example, we have a title. The ID is demo. The text node is DOM tutorial. It likes to point out that that's not text, it's a text node. So we have one way that we alter that, which is the first example, var my title equals document get element by ID demo .innerHTML. We can do the same thing, but instead of .innerHTML, we can do .firstChild.node value. that will return the node value of the first child. Since title is the first child of the body or the head element in this DOM, this object model, you would get the same value. It can also be done in that third example with dot child nodes written like an array with 0, starts numbering with 0, the first node, the first child, dot node value. And they all do the same thing. So we're gonna go do it together. Right over here. When I did that just now, can you now see my browser?
Not yet.
Not yet. I have to change how I'm sharing. Got it. Can you see my browser now?
Yep.
Okay. Can I move this bar across the top so that I can see my browser tabs? Yes, I can. Okay. Here is the try it from the, are you seeing this try it?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you can see, it has a body parent. Inside are 2 children. Child 1 is the H1 with ID ID01, and it has a text node called My First Page inside of it. The last child is a P with an ID ID02. If you looked in the script and the uncommented sections, we have document get element by ID, and we're looking at the ID02, the paragraph that's completely empty. And we're setting it equal to the document get element by ID ID1 in our HTML. So it's just repeating whatever is in the H1 element is now going to be shown in the P element. Is that totally good for y'all?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just combined 3 try-its into one because I thought it was easier to view it all at once. So here we are not running any scripts, so you can see that the paragraph, the P section is completely empty. I will uncomment out our document, get it by the first child node value. So we're going to run it. It's the same thing because ID1 is the first child. The node value inside is My First Page. So we're getting the same info. Same way, different way to call the exact same thing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I love feedback. Thank you. We'll run it again. And then here's the third way to get exactly the same thing, which is to call it by its node number. But I made a little extra up here to show, give us another node. So here I've added a third child node. So if I go in here, 0, 1, 2, so 2 would be the third child node and run it, it's going to give me the information in that child. Does that illustrate that well enough for y'all?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. Okay, let's go back to this. The ones we wanted to talk about, and we're going to go back to our try-its, are how to append a child, insert before appending a child, and puts it as the last child of a parent, insert before, remove child, or replace child. And we're just going to walk through those together. Let's go back to all right. Here is creating a new HTML element using append child. I want to explain it first. Y'all might have a lot of familiarity with these, but I did not. So in this code, we're going to create a new P element. Our variable para uses this document create element. We usually do document get element by ID, but create element is another method we can call. So we first create the element right here. Then we have to add text to the P element, so we have to create a text node. So here, we're doing that here in the create text node method. Then you must append the text node to the P element. Right here, we're going to use our append child. Then we have to append this whole new element to our existing parent. So we have to find the parent we want to use. We're doing it here, getting it by element ID and putting it in this variable. And then we use append child again to append that element we created to the existing element. So that's what's happening in here. Here's our div. It's our parent. It's a div1 ID. Inside are two children. First child is P1. This is a paragraph. Second child is P2. This is another paragraph. Here's our script. First, we create a new P under the variable para. Then we create our text node. It's going to say this is new. Then we append them together. Now that P exists with that text node inside of it. We create a new element that is calling what parent we want to put this in. It's our div1 parent. And then we run one more method, element append child to para, or the child para to this element. So here's element, the parent that we're going to call, dot, almost like we're doing an object. Here's our method, append child, and this is the variable that we're appending that we created. There it is over there. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, rolling on down. If you don't want it to be at the bottom, everywhere it said, here we're appending the child to append our text node to our new P element. But here, instead of using append child again, we do insert before, and you can see our little guy went to the top. Now it's the first child. Good?
Yeah, cool.
Good. All right, you can take away a text element in exactly the same way by using remove child. So over here you see no, this is another paragraph. You see no, we got rid of that guy. We got rid of that child. Or this is a paragraph. We got rid of P1. This is a paragraph. So the only thing over here is this is another paragraph. Good?
Yep.
And we can replace. All right, and it's exactly the same. We have our, except for with replace, you have to identify the parent first. So here we created a parent variable. We said, here's our parent. Here's our child. It's the P1. Here's our node. We're going to create text node. This is new. That's our new text node. We're appending that text node to the para document where we created, or that para variable where we created a new P. And then here we replaced the child. We used para to replace child. So I think if I comment this out, you can see this is a paragraph. There's our original P1. And when I replace it, I'm getting my new text node that I replaced it with. Are we good with it?
Yep.
Yeah, yes.
Hey, Tyler, welcome. We started at 5 after because I didn't want to run off schedule, but we welcome you.
It's all good.
Okay. How do I unshare? How do I unshare? Anybody?
Not sure.
Okay. Well, I'm done. Do you have any questions?
No. Actually, that was really cool. I didn't know that.
Thanks. I'll send y'all the PowerPoint that I just went into W3 schools for the try it. And if you go to JavaScript here and scroll down, there's this whole DOM section and it's in DOM nodes. Those 3 that we did together are right here in DOM nodes.
That's cool.
Great, thanks. I didn't know any of that either. I actually don't know what I would use it for, but now I know how to use it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's stop share. Figured it out. And I'm going to stop recording and I'm going to pass it over to Artem and he is going to teach. Is that correct?
Yes. Give me 1 minute, okay?